Last time on Low Budget Binge.
It's a tale as old as time. Because Lizzie is stressed out and horny, she continues to sleep with him as a distraction. And there's the public not paying attention to the rules and going out anyway, despite orders from the government. Kinda sounds familiar. And some charming, yet dangerous little Girl Scouts as the persistent monsters. All of these elements clash together with the grace and finesse of a game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots played by two ADHD adult preschoolers.
And now, the next death-defying chapter of Low Budget Binge.
Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, remember to give this video a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Please get the word out to new folks so we can make this channel bigger and better. Low Budget Binge is where we venture down the path less traveled and look at low budget, no budget, and sometimes international films that never get that top billing you see in the usual Hollywood markets. Check out that ever-evolving logo up there. Looking good. I'll indicate in the review and down below where you can find these films along with their trailers. Here we go. The director behind cult faves Slime City Massacre, Dry Bones, and who could forget Killer Rack, Gregory Lamberson, is back with another low-budgeter called Widow's Peak. And this time he's brought Nightbreed's Craig Sheffer along to star in this spook fest. A paranormal investigator in need of cash named Thomas, played by Sheffer, decides to spend the weekend locked inside a lighthouse with a haunted history. As a skeptic, he thinks this is going to be a piece of cake and a big payoff, but soon the lighthouse's past comes back to haunt him big time, and Thomas slowly loses his mind. Lamberson definitely knows how to set up low-budget scares, and while they are nowhere near the effectiveness level as The Conjuring or Insidious, they do come out fast and mean in Widow's Point. Most of the scares occur not on the green screen, but in the frame, with the actors trying to act as if they don't notice them. Others are much more successful, such as a ghost who slides across the floor on her back. This one really worked well for me and might be the best scare of the film. Lamberson keeps the pace moving so as not to let boredom set in, and also knows how to work around a budget rather than highlight the lo-fi chills that won't work. Though the scares are hit and miss, the acting is definitely something to see. Most of the cast is made up of amateurs, and it shows. But then again, there are other performances, like Thomas's assistant, Rosa, played by Caitlin E. Newberry, that work quite well. Craig Sheffer has always been sort of an enigma to me. His star-powered performances in Nightbreed and Some Kind of Wonderful are things of the past, but every now and then he pops up in a film and does a pretty decent job. His prominent brow line always made me feel like he would be a much better bad guy, thug type, but he still takes these leading man roles and goes against that type. Here, not only is he attempting to be a sympathetic hero, but he's also someone who is slowly going insane, and we're supposed to be witnessing that as the movie goes on. This is a transition I don't think Schaefer is able to accomplish, but seeing him try is pretty entertaining. When he finally goes Lulu Cuckoo, he serves up the ham cooked to perfection, and it falls deep into the so bad it's good territory. Sheffer's hair is a whole other story, as it's entering Corey Haim emulating Michael Jackson territory levels of bad. Appreciators of bad cinema will want to seek this one out simply to see Sheffer try to slide into madness, but I think they'll be impressed with the amount of quality and solid scares Widow's Point ends up delivering. Widow's Point is new on DVD, on demand, and digital download from 101 Films. Playing like a cross between an episode of Black Mirror and the old HBO series The Hitchhiker, The Honeymoon Phase is a fun concept that overstays its welcome and doesn't feel like it knows how to come to a proper ending. Lost's Francis Chow, known as the director, has been fascinated with the honeymoon phase in relationships and why that feeling fades over time. So he chooses a group of couples to be locked in a home together and forced to live with one another for a month. Happy newlyweds Eve, played by Chloe Carroll, and Tom, played by Jim Shubin, think that'll be easy peasy, and volunteer for the program, looking forward to using the large monetary payoff to start their future together. At first everything seems ideal, but Eve begins to notice small differences in Tom almost immediately after the lockdown. This leads to a full-on battle of the sexes as the two begin to give in to subtle pressures whispered in the walls of the home, which threaten to crumble their marriage to dust. The honeymoon phase made me snicker. The film was made pre-pandemic, so 1 month locked away with your significant other in a small place must have seemed like a long time. Now, post-pandemic, that feels like chump change, given that some have been locked down with their partners for 6 months now. Still, the honeymoon phase has that future, just a few years away feel that is common in the bulk of the Black Mirror episodes. Processed foods are provided to the couple. Their brains are scanned through the day to monitor their feelings in responses to the lockdown. And there's a weird, otherworldly, dreamlike vibe suggesting everything that is occurring is all a simulation. These bits are enough intrigue to keep the honeymoon phase interesting, despite its outdated concept. The film does provide a very subtle slide from blissful newlywed-dom to I hate your guts-dom, marking significant small changes in both participants as they notice things they never had noticed before with their partners. I think those in relationships might find this film amusing due to the realistic shift in the way relationships deteriorate over time. There's a lot of sex in the honeymoon phase, and that seems to be a part of the whole divide between Eve and Tom. That's the reason why I mentioned The Hitchhiker above, as each episode of the HBO series featured a prominent sex scene and a sensuality in the way they told their horror tales. Even at the beginning, when Eve and Tom are asked what is the difference between new and old couples, Eve responds, sex. In the end, this does prove to be the clue and inciting moment of the couple's division. That said, when all secrets are revealed in the latter portions of the honeymoon phase, things spiral out of control in a pretty ridiculous fashion. When you've got a wafy Eve blasting away guards with a machine gun, your relationship-centric sci-fi horror film has taken a turn for the worse, unfortunately. The ending of the honeymoon phase leads to all kinds of weird developments that take the film completely off its initial course, and what is intended to be a Twilight Zone reveal comes a little too far out of left field to be swallowed. The acting is decent. Chloe Carroll's Eve is enchanting, and Jim Shubin's Tom is charming. They make for an interesting couple to follow, but I think the manipulation of the latter part of the story was twisted a bit too much in order to deliver the shocks they wanted to. I would have preferred a conclusion that had more to do with the answer to the question posed at the beginning about what destroys relationships through time. Instead, we get machine guns, armed guards, and multiple murders, as if this were an 80s Schwarzenegger flick. The Honeymoon Phase is available this week on demand and digital download from Dark Sky Films. Next up we have Baba Yaga, Terror of the Dark Forest. If I had kids and I wanted to indoctrinate them into horror, I think Baba Yaga Terror in the Dark Forest would be a really good intro to my favorite genre for them. It's got no nudity, no swears, but still has some effective scares, a high sense of danger, and a simple but fun plot. While Baba Yaga, Terror in the Dark Forest, is steeped in old Russian lore, it's all explained in the opening credits. The main power of the Baba Yaga is that she has the power to make those who know her victims forget about them. And that's used to its full extent here, as a young boy named Igor, played by Oleg Chuganov, struggles after his mother dies, and his father remarries and brings a new child into the home. Though he resents Anya, the baby, Igor is concerned for her safety, as he seems to be the only one who notices that the new nanny, Tatiana, played by Svetlana Ustinova, is a witch, intending on stealing the baby. When the baby disappears and none of the family seems to notice, Igor enlists the help of his friends to take on the witch and get his stepsister back. While never getting too intense or graphic, Baba Yaga, Terror in the Forest still manages to deliver a good amount of effective scares reminiscent of what you might see in the Conjuring or Insidious films. Yes, these scares are kind of harmless, but they still work. The Baba Yaga enjoys toying with Igor, which makes for some intense scenes of the witch attacking him while invisible, and when he enters her lair, which is wrapped in red ropes in the middle of the forest. These scenes are filmed with a very capable hand, which straddles the line between kiddie fare and the more adult filmmaking. Reminiscent of films like Goonies, The Monster Squad, and Explorers, where it's up to the kids to save the day, you really feel these kids are in danger, and there's depth put into each of their characters, motivating them to help one another and take on the witch. The effects are equally well done, as the look of the Baba Yaga, either as a half-raven creature with a peg leg or as a skeleton wrapped in bright red twine, is original and fantastic. For a low-budget film, Baba Yaga really delivers on the effects, and every scene looks really good. Filmed in Russian, yet dubbed in English, the voice acting in Baba Yaga, Terror of the Dark Forest, is not the best, but the little actors starring in the roles and their adult parents all feel very natural. Star Chuganov is likable and scampy as Igor, the lead. He and his friend Dasha, played by Glafira Golubeva, make for a great pairing to take on the monster. I really like the theme of being forgotten, which highlights the power of the Baba Yaga, but also parallels the feelings Igor may have coming into a new family with a new baby. That's kind of a sophisticated theme for a child-centric story, but it works really well here. Sure, there are some pretty intense moments, but it's nothing that is going to scar a child viewer. The image of the Baba Yaga is nightmarish, but the film feels like a capably made fairy tale adapted with care and thought of the younger viewer. Baba Yaga is available on DVD, on demand, and digital download from the Shout Factory. Finally, we have Entwined, directed by Minos Nikolakakis. It's in select theaters, on demand, and digital download from Dark Star Pictures. While I wouldn't go so far as to categorize Entwined as horror, it still deals with some chilling moments and embraces modern mythology. Entwined is a gorgeous and soulful taste of Greek culture and mythological tragedy. When a doctor from the city named Panos, played by Prometheus Alifer, relocates to a small village in the hills of Greece, he encounters a waifish woman on the main road and follows her to her humble home in the middle of a thick forest. After setting up shop in the village, he attempts to find the woman, named Danae, played by Anastasia Raphael Konidi, as he feels she is sick and unable to care for herself. Once he finds Danae, Panos is compelled to stay, and even when he attempts to leave the forest, he only finds his way back to Danae's home. What happens next is the stuff of ancient Greek myth and tragic fairy tale. While the journey Panos takes in the span of this story is quite arduous and horrifying, there aren't a lot of true scares to be had in Entwined. Instead, this is a film that mesmerizes you into following the story in almost a trance-like manner. The sights and sounds of the thick forests and beautiful countrysides are something out of the finest of travelogues. Director Minos Nikolakakis captures the stunning landscapes with an artist's eye. He tells a simple and elegant story that feels ripped right from ancient lore, and unfolds the various plot twists just as delicately. Prometheus Alifer does a fantastic job playing the strong, yet somewhat foolish protagonist who acts upon impulse and rejects any and all warnings from friends and acquaintances in the new town. But the real surprise is the enthralling beauty of Anastasia Raphaela Konidi as Danae. Through simple gestures and a sing-song voice, one can imagine how Panos becomes so enthralled with her. The story unfolds quite predictably, but never loses its charm. Knowing my fair share of ancient myths and how they often end in utter tragedy, I had a strong notion of how this film was going to turn out, and was privy to the twists before they were revealed to our clueless protagonist. Still, I found Entwined to be utterly enchanting. Those interested in mythology, both modern and ancient, will feel the magic of Entwined. A simple but effective and sad fable that is definitely worth seeking out. That'll be it for today. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. Don't forget about the new trade paperback of my new comic book horror series, GRAVETRANCERS. It's out in all of the finer comic shops now. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your